Welcome back, everyone. Now, a majority of people probably know by now, but I've had a couple of iPhones in my day. And one thing that I always try to convey to everyone is, keeping your phone in the best possible condition month after month, week after week, year after year to pretty much conserve how much, awesomeness is still, on your iPhone or your Android or whatever. It's specifically, I'm talking about iPhone, but more so the resale value. When you go and resell your phone, one of the biggest things that people look at beyond just the phone itself and the condition is the health of the battery. Now, with the iPhone 12s, it's really not going to matter too much what you do with it because, most probably the battery life is not going to get degraded at all. So the battery health is still here 100%. But what I will tell you is that throughout my lifetime of owning my iPhone 11 Pro, which was the phone before this, I still have 100% battery health capacity on that phone. But even before that, with my iPhone 10, I did buy it used. I think it had like 95% battery health. And when I was done using it, I think about 7 or 8 months later, it was still at 95%. So I try to do a good job at trying to, maintain that battery health on my phone. And the iPhone 12 Pro right now is no different. It's still at 100%. It's only been a couple of months. And these are pretty much the main things that I do. I think the biggest thing that I do to maintain this 100% is probably not letting my phone die completely all the time. That is probably the number one thing that I've seen myself do, that I've seen other people do all the time, and that just kills the battery like crazy. Now, what happens is typically, let's say you're going on a run or something like that, and your phone randomly dies on you, and you just forgot to charge it last night. Well, once or twice is not that big of a deal. That really doesn't cause too much of a degradation. But it's the problem when it's like, once every couple of days, for the lifetime of a couple of years. And basically your battery is just going to degrade. It's just common sense. It's just gonna happen. If it happens like once or twice, every couple of times or whatever, it's not that big of a deal. But if it's like, every couple of days your phone is completely dying and then you have to charge it back up, that really does degrade quite a bit of that, capacity of the battery. So that's a huge thing to keep in mind. It's probably best if you go ahead and just, charge it up or keep it kind of charged up a little bit. If you let it, go to like 10% and charge it up, that's perfectly fine. But if you let it constantly die out, that can cause a lot of damage to your battery. And that is something I try to avoid. I always try to make sure my phone is charged, to as much as I can before it fully dies. Right now, my phone's at like 25 or 30%. So most probably it's going to be okay. It's not going to die on me. But that is a humongous thing to keep in mind. That's the number one thing that I always do to make sure that my, phone doesn't just, have a 90% battery health in like 3, 4, 5 months. Now, the next thing, which isn't already the battery health, option, is the optimized battery charging. Now, this is another huge thing that I always recommend people to do and always, enable. So if you go into your battery settings, you go down to battery health, which is right here, you'll basically find this optimized battery charging. So what it does is that it'll fast charge your device if it supports it up to 80%, and then it'll trickle charge up to 100%. So by doing this, it's already going to optimize your battery. It's going to preserve a little bit of extra battery health. So even that is going to just aid into you actually having 100% capacity in your battery health over time. So that is another big thing that I do. I think it was introduced in iOS 12 or something, but that is another huge thing that I always did. And honestly, the final thing, and it's not really too complicated. If you do that, if you don't let your phone die all the time, this is the last thing, which is not letting your phone go into super extreme conditions. So if it's super hot or it's super cold, this can also have a humongous effect on your battery life and your battery health. So what does this mean? Basically, if you let your phone, get extremely hot, let's say you're in the middle of a desert and your phone is like 300 degrees, not really, but if it, even comes on the screen that, oh, this phone has a, temperature thing, it's too hot or it's too cold to use, you're going to let it, warm up or cool down. You want to avoid those type of conditions. And the scary thing is you don't even have to be in a hot condition for this to happen. You can be in the coldest temperature or whatever, or the, room temperature. But let's say you're playing super intensive games or you're using a bunch of apps and your phone is heating up like crazy. Well, this can also cause a huge damage to the battery as well. Like I said, if it happens once or twice or 5 times, it's not going to matter. But if it happens like 20 times a week and it's like every single month you're doing it, this can also cause a huge damage to the battery. And one case that I always saw this before, whenever I would even talk to people or whatever, it would always be for some reason their cars. So they would tend to leave their phones in their cars in their super cold or super hot conditions. They would come back to their car and it would be super hot. Sometimes they would, put their phone on navigation in their car and it would be on the front, but it would still get hot from the sun. And that's another huge thing right there too. That can cause a lot of damage to the battery life as well. So those are basically the main ways that I go ahead and probably, maintain my 100% capacity on my battery health. I don't let my phone die all the time. I optimize battery charging. Then I, pretty much don't let the phone get super hot or super cold in any condition. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count. So it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.